Good, happy Thursday morning, January 23rd, 2020. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. We have a lot of news to get to this Thursday morning, so let's begin. First up, Senate adjourns for Day 2 of impeachment trial of President Trump. The House impeachment managers have concluded their first day of opening remarks in the impeachment trial of President Trump for the day. The trial will continue Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. New developments for imprisoned tax evaders. Couple from 2007 Plainfield standoff to be resentenced. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
Huge tax breaks for the rich while the middle class continues to struggle. That's what happens when billionaires are able to control the political system. No more tax breaks for billionaires. We're going to fight for equal pay for equal work, healthcare for all of our people, and a livable wage.
The standoff at the Browns' Plainfield home lasted almost all of 2007. They stood their ground on arguing federal income taxes unconstitutional. The convicted tax evaders were finally taken into custody in October of that year. Ed Brown was sentenced to 37 years in prison, his wife Elaine to 35 years, after U.S. Marshals say they found weapons, explosives, and booby traps around the property. Last year, one charge was vacated after the U.S. Supreme Court found the term crime of violence unconstitutionally vague. Now resentencing is scheduled for January 31st. In advance, Elaine Brown's lawyer argues that she's gone through rehabilitation, that her crimes did not result in violence, and that she was manipulated by her husband and is now seeking a divorce, saying she regrets that she chose to follow her husband down a rabbit hole of extremism, disobedience, and ultimately criminality. But the U.S. Attorney's Office says she should serve at least another decade, writing that the Browns armed themselves to the teeth and engaged in violent threats, adding it is also critically important that this court send a general deterrence message that flouting the judicial system with threats of violence will not be tolerated in an organized society. Ed and Elaine Brown are scheduled to be resentenced on Friday, January 31st in two separate hearings. Live in studio, Gene Mackin, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Tulsi Gabbard files defamation lawsuit against Hillary Clinton. Gabbard seeking 2020 Democratic presidential nomination. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9, Charisse LeClaire.
This economy is not working for most of us. There is not one county in the United States of America where someone working full-time at the minimum wage can afford a two-bedroom apartment. The biggest problem in our economy is simple. People are not getting paid enough.
Gabbard did address that lawsuit. She also fielded questions from voters regarding impeachment, veteran care, and the partisan divide. I'm a patriot. I love our country. Presidential hopeful Tulsi Gabbard addressing a defamation lawsuit filed today against Hillary Clinton, seeking $50 million after lawyers for Gabbard say she suffered actual significant and professional damages. I will not stand by and allow Hillary Clinton or anyone else to smear me as a traitor to the country that I love. The lawsuit that I filed is to hold her accountable for those defamatory statements that she made. The suit alleges Clinton appeared to call Gabbard, quote, the favorite of the Russians on a podcast. Gabbard's lawyers argue Clinton reserves a special hatred and animosity for Tulsi, who never endorsed Clinton, did not campaign for her, and to top it off, gave the nomination speech for Senator Sanders at the 2016 Democratic National Convention. A spokesman for Clinton today called the suit ridiculous. Meantime, Gabbard also fielded questions from voters. She's currently on a statewide tour of town halls. Some voters say they've made up their minds.
And I've just been impressed by the fact that she's like the one Democrat who really seems to be standing against identity politics, which I really feel is tearing this country apart.
And while Gabbard says she is the candidate to beat President Trump, several Trump supporters sat in the audience.
I like her. She's great. I think she's the strongest Democrat of all the Democrats that are running.
And Gabbard is continuing with multiple visits this week, including one being held tomorrow night in Claremont at 6 o'clock. In Charlestown, I'm Charisse LeClaire, WMUR News Now.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Driver who hit man fled because he saw a gun, police say. Let's take a listen to that video from NBC, 10 Boston, and NECN.
Watch this as a man is flung into the air after he's hit by a pickup truck. This happened earlier today. You see the guy get hit, go airborne, and then drop onto his back on the pavement. Kathryn Sotnik live for us in Chelsea where it all happened. And Kat, how's that man doing? What are you learning about the driver? Fill us in here.
Well, I can tell you that victim was treated and released from the hospital, so that is the good news. And according to police here tonight, that victim had a gun on him when he was hit by this pickup truck. He does have a license to carry, according to police, and that gun became dislodged. According to police, the driver became spooked and then took off from the scene. Surveillance video from Chelsea shows what police call a hit-and-run Wednesday. A 28-year-old man hit by a pickup truck while in a crosswalk at the intersection of Broadway and Everett around 4 p.m. The pedestrian hits the front of the truck, then falls to the ground and rolls in the street.
It's dangerous. They don't care.
Residents say the intersection is a busy one and can be problematic.
It's a very dangerous intersection. I got hit by an 18-wheeler probably maybe 3 months ago. It crushed my bike. I had to let my bike go this way, and I dove to the right because it was either me or the bike.
The video also shows the driver appear to stop and then leave the scene. Police say he drove off towards Park Square. But by evening, police say they'd canceled the alert for the driver, that the driver came forward, and in an odd twist, police say the driver took off from the scene, telling police he became spooked when he saw a gun on the ground. Police say the victim has a license to carry and his gun became dislodged when he was hit. And police here tonight say this is not an arrestable offense. Instead, they have cited that driver for leaving the scene of an accident, and that driver told them that the sun was in his eyes at the time of this hit and run. We're live here tonight in Chelsea. I'm Kathryn Sotnik, NECN.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Passengers on flight from China medically evacuated at Logan Airport. Let's take a listen to that video from WCVB Boston.
Speaking with a psychologist about weight loss surgery can prepare the patient for the procedure, but also help them to recover both physically and emotionally.
Learn more at onehealthyboston.com. Your wellness, our experts.
Officials here certainly taking some extra precautions tonight. Just behind us here, some of the people are still coming off of that flight that just landed from Hong Kong. We'll show you a picture from a passenger that was on that plane, and you can see first responders on the tarmac there. It turns out that 9 people on this flight from Hong Kong came from the region in China where this coronavirus outbreak originated. They were checked out by a nurse who was in contact with the CDC, and it turns out they are all in good health. But the alarm tonight really illustrates the heightened concern here. Earlier in the night, we met a man whose parents are traveling through China on a flight, and they came prepared with masks just as a precaution.
My concern, that's why they're having the mask with them, making sure they have with them too. Just in case.
So clear that health officials are really playing it safe tonight. So far, 1 confirmed case of coronavirus in the United States, but officials expect that number to grow. And again, that nurse on board this flight tonight, but you can see people coming off of that plane, everyone checked out okay.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Maine lawmakers look at cost of proposal in governor's state of the state address. Let's take a listen to that video from WMTW News 8 Maine.
The greed and corruption undermining our democracy is bigger than one man. And so is the solution. We will make billionaires pay their fair share, provide better wages, and equal pay for women. The future doesn't belong to Trump, it belongs to us.
Governor Mills pitched many new ideas last night during her State of the State address, but many are not currently part of legislation.
Even if there is a bill, they might not have a price tag yet. News 8's Phil Hirschkorn is looking into what some of Mills' new plans might cost.
Many of the ideas Governor Mills touted don't exist in legislation. Even if they do, they may not have a price tag yet. At least a dozen Mills proposals could cost taxpayer money, such as hiring 20 more child welfare caseworkers. Some are paid for in the biennial budget passed last year, such as $62 million for nursing homes. Drew Katine chairs the House Appropriations Committee. He says a new projected revenue surplus is up for debate.
Right now, there's $116 million available in order to make decisions about whether we're going to spend some of those things on new initiatives, whether we're going to invest in some things that we weren't willing to invest in last year.
Something the legislature failed to pass last year was a bond to buy new equipment for the state's 27 technical high schools. Assistant Majority Leader Ryan Fecteau foresees a compromise on CTE for a $20 million bond. It would be the first since 1998.
It is long overdue to make a statewide investment in career and technical education in the state.
Mills asked legislators to center Fecteau's bill for an affordable housing tax credit to give developers an incentive to build 1,000 apartments over 8 years for seniors and low-income residents.
You get the credit once you've done the work.
The estimated cost, $10 million. Legislators expect Governor Mills to submit a comprehensive supplemental budget in the coming weeks to fill in the blanks on proposed new spending. In Augusta, Phil Hirschkorn, WMTW News 8.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. U.S. features point to a lower open on Wall Street. U.S. stock index fell on Thursday morning. Text messages shared during trial for Harvey Weinstein. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
Chilling opening statements in the trial of Harvey Weinstein, the prosecution saying Weinstein is a sexual predator and a rapist. The defense saying they will reveal, quote, loving text messages and emails from some of his accusers. Here's Whit Johnson.
Harvey, how Tonight, a stunning fall for a Hollywood giant.
Harvey, do you think you're going to get a fair trial today?
Yeah. Harvey Weinstein walking into a New York courtroom assisted by his PR rep. Prosecutors calling him a sexual predator and a rapist. More than 80 women alleging misconduct, but this trial will focus on 2 specific cases, including former Weinstein production assistant Mimi Halei. Prosecutors say Weinstein sexually assaulted her in 2006, and that she eventually gave up struggling and just laid there motionless.
I told him no, but he insisted.
But the defense previewed what it called dozens of loving emails sent by some accusers to the producer, like this one from the other complaining witness, months after the alleged assault. Miss you, big guy. I love you. I always do. But I hate feeling like a booty call. Weinstein has pleaded not guilty to all 5 felony counts, including rape and sexual assault. 6 women are expected to testify against him, which could begin as early as tomorrow. David?
All right, Whit Johnson tonight. Whit, thank you.
Hi. Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this morning edition of the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you back here later on today for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Goodbye, everyone.